At midnight, Sergeant Major Sidney Small of Birmingham lowers the Union Jack that has flown in Uganda for nearly 70 years. At the same moment, and to replace the Union Jack, the black, gold and red flag of the new young state, Uganda is born again, free and independent.
My name is Mrs. Mary Guretti Michael Owani. I was born in 1947. I met Michael in 1968 at Kireka Rehabilitation Center, Kampala. Then we started to stay together as a wife and a husband, 1968. At Mulago Hospital, orthopedic workshop. I also worked there for 10 years. Then in 1979 I came back to Lira. Then I worked at the hospital, main hospital, for about 20 years also. We were blessed with 3 children. 1 girl and 2 men, 2 boys. But a girl died in 1994, and another, the second born died in 2007.
My name is Celestino Obua. I am currently the Vice Chancellor of Mbara University of Science and Technology. But in terms of family, I am the 11th born of the 12 children that were born by our parents. And Michael Owani was our 3rd born. The story I hear is that Michael was born normal, just like any other normal child. But then he acquired polio. And of course, in polio infection, which I can now talk about as a doctor, is that this is a virus which goes and affects the nervous system, which affects the muscles. You know, the muscles operate through instruction from the nervous system. And polio affects particularly your the spine. And most children die, but those who survive polio become paralyzed. Either the lower limbs are affected or the upper limbs are affected, and so on. So Michael's lower limbs were affected, and so he became a polio victim in childhood. I'm told he was about 5 years old by the time he got polio. But that does not deter, I think, him. He learned to live with the polio and lived more or less normal lives. But as you know, children who had the polio that time became discriminated on. So many schools where our parents would have wanted him to study rejected him because he was a child who was disabled with polio. But he, on his own, he strived and acquired education on his own until he studied storekeeping, and that is how he was employed in Mulago as a storekeeper in the orthopedic department of Mulago.
He was the first man to bring gold medal in Uganda in 1970.
So I recall that in 1970, I recall getting to know that Michael was going to Edinburgh to participate in what was then called Paraplegic Games in Edinburgh. And that time I was in my second year of secondary. I was in Koboni College, year 2, S2, as it's popularly known.
Other people may say that I'm selling lies, but this is the medal with my husband, my beloved husband, Michael Owani, as you can see here. Third Commonwealth Paralympic Games in 1970 in Edinburgh, England. So my neck, because we are one. 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. That is very good to 1 and 1. And first disabled person to bring disability movement. That is called association. It was called Uganda Association of the Handicapped in 1979. His dream was to see the disabled people sitting together, discussing together, working together, even going to school up to university. But now, I'm very happy that God took him when he has seen his dream, a real dream. Disabled people now are in parliament. They are in universities. They are educated. And now people like them. In the past, they used to hide them when visitors come. Say, we have only 2 people, yet there are 3. Because that one is a disabled person, is now introduced to the visitors. But I'm very, very happy with him for what he did for us, we disabled people.
the formation of an association for disabled people in Uganda. So Michael was one of the earlier architects of the Association of People with Disabilities in Uganda. He was one of the founder members. So what was later on called Nodipo, Michael was actually one of the earlier architects of that. Secondly, Michael was a very strong advocate for supporting other people with disabilities. And that also followed him even when he had retired from work in Mulago, and he came back here to Lira. He also formed some organization where he was supporting people with disabilities, helping them to develop some hands-on skills. There are a number whom he trained on showing, others. He supported them in being able to build themselves in terms of encouraging them to study, encouraging them to develop their own capacity to survive, and then relying on hand-downs from people. So there are a number of people with disabilities that Michael supported to build themselves up.
When he came from there, he went throughout Uganda preaching how to help the disabled persons, how to unite them, what can be done for them, that is sending them to school, even getting them works. But in Lira here, where we started Uganda, the St. Daniel Disabled Training Center, so far 15 people have benefited, 15 of them. And when we are teaching them how to carry on with life, we told them that you be confident that you are also a human being. You can be married, you can have children, you can go to school, and you can even discuss with other people. They are very happy. He was only on disabled people, because when he went there, he saw those people were well trained, and they could do something. Even some of them were driving. But in Uganda here, by that time, disabled people were not recognized. Some of them were hidden. Some of them were killed, because you are a disabled person. You are killed. You are left alone. But his main wish was to see the disabled people being in life, a good life.
Maybe let me say how he was forgotten so far. The government then was very different in the way they approached people with disability, if you compare that with the government today. While today Uganda recognizes people with disabilities, I think in the early days of our country, people with disabilities traditionally were disadvantaged. They were not recognized. People never took anything that they did with enough conviction or feeling that these are Ugandans who can contribute in life, who can contribute to the development of this country. So one of the challenge was in the formation of their organization, let's say the Nodipo organization. there were also factions within them. And then you find that people with ability, those who were not disabled, were also part of the association. So now these fellows would use these people with disability as a means of furthering their own good other than the disabled people. So that is how the people with disability who would have shown contribution to the development of this country were virtually ignored, because it was people with ability who took over the management of the association. Until maybe now of late that we have representation of people with disabilities, both in government, in parliament, and so on. But previously, it never existed. And I wish that Michael was present in this current era. Then he would have been, his achievement would have been recognized and lauded. So now, those who are performing in Paralympics today, they are covered internationally. There is a lot of coverage, there's a lot of money that is being sponsored. An athlete like Owani, who would have attained the level of getting a gold, would have achieved a lot because there would be sponsors coming to recognize him, to put him either on adverts and so on. Now, that was not available at that time. But can it still be reactivated? Yes, because the gold medal exists. Michael's photos are there. His memory cannot just go and disappear in oblivion.
Government is soon going to construct for us Laon Castle Complex. Laon Castle Complex will get there a museum, office for the clan leaders, and then the palace, etc., etc. We are going to honor our people who did a lot for the sub-region, for now. We are going to put their monuments. And it's going to be, because Akibwa also won a medal, he's going to be there. And then him, he also won a medal, he's going to be there. And our past important clan leaders in our assembly, the process of the medal system, I think, going through the RDC. So she was in the process of pushing that through the RDC of there, because the late Michael was staying in the district. In fact, the family members are still staying in the district. So that before we could finish the process, the old man went. Because also it's a very difficult process. But it's not yet too late. We can still process, and the medal can still be given to the families. One thing is, we are talking about a medal. Two, well, we will look at putting a structure which is permanent. You know, a structure which is permanent is more memorial than some money. We will try to construct a house.
When Michael was alive, about his pension, he gave a letter to Sam Engola to take it to the government, but we never got the feedback. Another one was given to Honorable Omara Tubu. We never got it again. So, as he was getting too old and to go to Kampala, there is buses of these days. There is no possibility of carrying our wheelchairs, so it is very difficult to go with wheelchair to Kampala these days. So he failed. That is why he did not get in. That is why he did not go to Kampala.
So when Michael was working at the orthopedic department of Mulago, and he was employed as stores. All I know is working in the store, but his title, whether he was a storekeeper or stores assistant or what, I don't know. I cannot go into that detail right now because I don't have the documents with me. So when Michael retired, when he was still alive, for some reason he didn't follow up the pension, but he followed up the pension of his wife. Now, the way public service works is that the retiree produces documentation, of employment, of appointment letters, of things like that. Now, for you or for me today to follow up, I need to produce the appointment letters that he had. I need to produce a number of documents which I cannot get access to today. And that is what made it impossible for me to follow up his pension. I think that's even why Honorable Sam Imala failed, Honorable Maratuku failed. I also failed to follow that up.
I wish if there was means and kindness to him, his pension could be processed and given to the family. As you can see me now, I'm now too old. Old age has increased my disability. I cannot do anything, but the grandchildren are with me. I have nothing to do now. I have no money, nothing to send them to school, and very many things. As you know now, life is very expensive, even for the able people. Now, what about the disabled and old age? Old age has made me very, very weak. I wish they could give him his pension. He's not dead because he has left some other people on earth. First of all, I would like the authorities to allow his name to be named in one road, either in the town or anywhere, so that we can remember him as a hero. Secondly, if it was possible, at least something must be done. He was a sportsman. So if the sport of the disabled people can come back, there can be a cup, which is called Michael Owani Cup, so that it may be competed every year, Michael Owani Cup.
Can I tell you, we have a gold medalist who has never been recognized in this country, and yet he is a person with disability who brought gold medal for Uganda in 1970, and this is none other than Michael Owani with his gold on his neck right there.
My name is Charles Obote Bogere, a practicing journalist, but a public administrator by training. I am glad to be part of this documentation because I am a beneficiary. This was a man who could take interest in an individual, especially if you're a person with disability. And I would love to help you discover your real potential. So this is one thing that makes me remember him. And I pray that even his family, the family that still remains, government should be able to support his family. This is my appeal. Because someone who has, sold the name of the country outside, and even he deserves to be remembered because he is not only a sports hero, but he has been a socialist, and I'm actually so glad that we can do this to remember him, to remember what he did to our country.
Yes, I've missed him a lot. He was my best friend, the only man in the world I loved. I love him too much that even now, I don't feel that he's dead. I always feel that he's coming back, but he's gone. He's not coming back, I'm going to follow him. I like him if I have to know. That is why I asked the authorities to put his name among the heroes